Hey gardeners, thank you so much for watching. Today I'm going to give you a quick little, well, it might not be quick, but a tour of the raised bed gardening area, food gardening, and it is a wreck out here. Like between the rain, the humidity, the heat, like everything like it was overgrown, and then an outburst of powdery mildew, pests, disease, like everything that could happen has happened out here. So the last couple of days I've been trying to clean things up, empty out some beds of things that just aren't looking so great anymore, and then trying to make some space to plant some more fall things. I want to get my garlic in the ground early this year to hopefully get bigger bulbs. And then I just want to get the beds, get more compost in them, and just get them looking much better. So here is the tomato jungle, and it's doing pretty well. I had a little incident earlier last month when I tried to apply a foliar calcium spray, and it really damaged my plants. It damaged a lot of the foliage, but they have bounced back. They still just don't look like there were a lot of plants that were damaged by it, and then there were some that were perfectly fine. So you can still see some of that damage, but a lot of it has grown out. I've pruned off the foliage that was jacked up, and then I have the plants. The plants have since grown new foliage, and it's really early out today, so it's kind of like foggy. It's a really cool looking morning, actually. So what I've been doing in the tomato jungle is just keeping things pruned, taking off dead leaves. We've been able to harvest quite a few tomatoes, like definitely cherry tomatoes. We've been harvesting a lot of those. We've been making bruschetta with them, and that's kind of our favorite thing right now is the bruschetta with the fresh garlic, fresh herbs, and then we use like some mozzarella or provolone, and it's just delicious. But before I leave the tomato jungle, let me show you guys the caladiums that popped up this year. So I did not plant these, and I have a feeling that these were already in the compost and soil mixture that I got from Rural King. I don't think it was composted very well, because I used all fresh things. The caladiums that I had from last year, I threw those in the garbage, I believe. So I don't know how these would have gotten there. So this bed is mostly cleared. I've been having rabbits and groundhogs come through and eat up a lot of my greens. So I end up pulling all of the kale, all of the collards and things that I had, because they were damaged by cabbage moths and damaged by groundhogs. So this bed is about to get fully pulled, and then I'm going to plant my garlic in here. This bed is, I'm a hang on to this one for a while. The only thing that I really need to be emptied out is this for the garlic. I might try to replant some of this other stuff somewhere, but I'm not sure. So let's go down this way. So I have tomatoes in this middle bed. They are doing pretty well. Actually, they're doing really well because they're giants. These tomatoes were actually in water. So these were like some water cuttings that I rooted, and they're planted, and they are flowering. There's fruit getting ready to ripen, and they look amazing. This bed right here has gone crazy. My trellis that I built was too weak to hold the gourds. Everything just kind of tipped over. So I've been working in this bed a lot to kind of get things stabilized. My sunflowers are huge and falling over. Definitely some learning curves here, and I will be doing things differently next year for sure. But I will be growing gourds and sunflowers, all these same things. I'll be growing them next year, just in different spots, not all in the same thing. So this bed was really bad yesterday. Yesterday was probably the worst I've seen it, just severely overgrown. I cut it back so much yesterday, like everything. And here's where the issue was. So earlier this year I had all these little seedlings, teeny tiny seedlings. They're small. And so I'm like, where do I put this? Where do I put that? I need some space for that. And I was just, I guess, desperate. And so I planted cucamelons with jelly melons, which was a huge mistake. I planted multiple cucamelon plants and multiple jelly melon plants, and they took over like they're supposed to. So yeah, so I had to cut all that back. The vines are pokey, and it was a mess. It was a huge mess. Plus there is something, I think it's probably some kind of mole or vole that's been living in this bed. It's been digging holes and trenches down there. So this bed, once I get this cleared out, this won't be cleared until the end of the season, probably till nothing is harvestable anymore, then I'll go through and try and see what's actually living down there and get it out. We'll see. I bet it would come back anyway, because that's what those kind of little critters do. So this bed is the ground cherries, and these guys, oh my gosh, they took over. They started, first of all, starting ground cherry seeds, it was so they weren't easy. They didn't germinate as quickly as I thought. They germinated in over a week. Probably took them about 2 weeks to germinate. So at that point you're thinking okay, they're not going to germinate, but they did. And then because they didn't germinate quickly, I started trying to germinate more, so I had an overabundance of ground cherry plants. So these guys just took over very quickly. I have a couple of other plants in some other beds, and they didn't take over as much as this bed did. So I know next year I'm going to have some issues, because when I was cutting them back, I could see all of these ground cherries on the ground. So I'm going to have to pick up as many as I can here soon. So my Bushel Baskets, I have one back here. I did not feel like they did great this year for a number of reasons. Water, fertilizer, and the fact that they were in these baskets. I don't think that it was a space conducive to really good growth. I also feel like I waited too long to get the seedlings planted. I think that kind of stunted their growth. But let me show you guys something, because I'm really distracted by this area right now. And I'm looking at these little limelight hydrangeas in bloom, and then these dahlias that are in bloom. The dahlias I started from seed, and they are so beautiful. Look at them. They're so pretty. The cut flower garden is just looking amazing. I'm so happy. This whole, this little walkway and space just makes me so happy to look at every day. Anyway, back to the raised bed. So it's looking much better. I'm going to continue to work on it. The gourds, planting the gourds has been just so much fun to watch them grow. I love hand pollinating them and just keeping an eye on them. I think we'll have quite a few this year. I'm guessing at least 10 different ones. So, well, not 10 different, but at least 10. So I'm excited about that. My onions did terribly this year. They sucked. The strawberries sucked this year, and it's all my fault. I was kind of pulled in too many different directions. This is the biggest vegetable garden that I have ever had in my life. So just managing everything was, it got kind of difficult, keeping everything fertilized, and watering was fine, but it's just the fertilizing, the pruning, the maintenance, it kind of got away from me because my focus was pulled in so many different directions. Here's my ginger right here. looking amazing. If you guys haven't seen that video where I started ginger indoors, probably in January I started to sprout it, and it's doing really good. It looks amazing. These 2 pots here had sunflowers. They've had bush beans, and they're fizzling out right now, so those are going to be moved into the garage. So here's what I'm doing with my potted things. So like the grow bags, anything that has soil in it, I'm going to just move that into the top of the garage. I'm not going to dump the soil in the spring. I will add some compost and a little extra soil on the top and some fertilizer and just go with it. I don't think that I need to dump out that soil and just buy all new soil. I want to try it this way and save myself some money. I love this. I love this corner right here. It's doing exactly what I planned for it to do, and it is just so wonderful to see. I love that. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay, so these beds are empty. I planted all kinds of things. So there's kohlrabi, there's cabbages, there's carrots, there are radishes and beets and kale. Did I say kale? Collards. I think that's about the array of variety right there. But yeah, so that's my fall sowing. Over here, I've got some more ground cherries. There's herbs. Everything is just looking so like it's just done for the season. Everything looks kind of haggard. Got some Swiss chard. We've got a couple more tomatoes over here, peppers. My corn is done. Like the corn cobs, I posted a picture, you guys. They did not get properly pollinated. Were some of the comments, at least on Instagram. Proper pollination, proper fertilization, and I will agree to all of those. My tomatoes over here look terrible. This is the Tumbling Tom yellow, and I think there's a red in there, and I will not be doing tomatoes this way next year. I definitely will probably do a hanging basket, but I will have to do bigger hanging basket. Like this basket was not adequate to sustain this plant. It was dry. It would dry down half the day. It would be done, and it's just been hard to keep this guy properly watered. We've got some cute little gourds in here, and there's one hanging down there. But yeah, there's a little watermelon. There's a San Marzano tomato over there. Yeah, the corn is it's done. You could tell it's just yellowing up, and it's so much earlier than, the corn that I see in the fields over by my home. So, yeah. We've got some Berries Crazy Cherry. I really love the Berries Crazy Cherry. It is so delicious. And then a blueberry right there did nothing this year. Absolutely nothing. No blueberries, no flowers, no nothing. All right, guys, so that is about it for the vegetable gardening. If you have any questions, let me know. Be happy to answer those in the comments section. And I just, every year you learn something new, and then the next year you do something different. But wait, let me show you one thing. I gotta show you something. So check out my hibiscus here. This plant is so pretty, and I got this on clearance from Lowe's. Look at that. Ooh, that is pretty. Now, of course, my hibiscus did not bloom during Summerific Hibiscus Week, but that's okay. Still enjoying blooms now. Everything looks amazing, especially in the mornings and when everything's all wet with the morning dew. It looks fabulous. All right, you guys, this is really it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.